So hello everyone, today I'll be watching Attack on Titan Season 2 episode 12. Now before I go into this episode, I just wanted to quickly talk about a fellow YouTuber called Hoodie Sensei. Basically, as far as I know, he also is a reactor. I think he also reacts to anime, and basically his channel got deleted because of copyright, so now he created a new channel. I think it's called Hoodie Sensei Conversations. The link to that channel will be in the comment section down below and in the description box of this video. So if you're interested, it would be highly appreciated if you could check out his channel, and if you enjoy his content, of course, consider subscribing to him. And I guess you probably are now confused. I suppose you're wondering, how do I know about him? Why am I promoting him? Basically, it's a long story, and if you're interested, I will probably explain this at the end of this video or maybe in the comment section down below. But he basically was one of the first people who started to watch my channel. He's one of the first people who started to comment under my videos. I think he started to do that since my reaction to episode 3 of season 1. Basically, yeah, he often left a positive comment. He showed me a lot of support at the beginning of my channel. So that's why now I figured out that I could return this favor to him. I figured out that I could now help him. I could now basically in a way support him, especially because I myself am aware how hard it is, how difficult it is to deal with copyright issues. I mean, I myself got stressed out whenever one of my videos got blocked. So I cannot imagine how difficult it must be for him, considering the fact that he lost his entire channel. That's why I decided to help him out. So again, yeah, the link to his channel will be in the comment section and in the description box. And if you're interested into more detail regarding this whole situation, regarding his channel, I will explain it a bit more in detail in the comment section. So that's that. Now, the other thing which I wanted to talk about is basically the fact that I have read your comments under my previous video. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you to those who clarified to me that the character called Katarina is not an official character, that it's basically a fan-made character. And if you don't know what I'm now talking about, basically at the end of my last video, I explained that I saw a 3D model, that I accidentally saw a 3D model of a character called Katarina, and it also said that that character is from Attack on Titan, so I immediately assumed that I got spoiled, that I saw a 3D model of a character which will appear somewhere in the future of this show. But luckily that's not the case. As I said, you clarified to me in the comment section that I didn't get spoiled, that that character does not exist in the world of Attack on Titan, that character is basically an Attack on Titan inspired, fan-created character. So again, thank you all for clarifying this. I have to admit that, I feel relieved knowing that I wasn't spoiled by that. Also, one other comment highlighted the fact that this Titan, which ate Carla, is not a Titan shifter. And yeah, I have to say that my friend said that initially he didn't plan to show me that comment, but then he saw that a lot of people have liked that comment. And then he also remembered that something similar happened at the time when I reacted to the season finale of season 1, where I had a theory that Eren has fire-based powers. And I made that theory based off, the fact that he started to burn as he was fighting with Annie. And at that time, some people in the comment section clarified that basically that was not his special ability, but that him burning, that Eren's Titan form burning, was just a aesthetic, stylistic choice. And also at that time, he wasn't sure if he should show me those comments or not, but he eventually did, to, how should I say, avoid confusion. And he did the same thing here. He ultimately decided to show me that comment so that in a way, I guess, I wouldn't be confused while watching this episode, episode 12. And now I have to say that I don't know if this was the right choice, because to me it still feels like a spoiler considering the fact that I was almost certain that this Titan is a Titan shifter. I spent a large chunk of my last discussion talking about the fact that it seems that this is a Titan shifter and all the implications that this fact could have within the story. So again, I don't know if him showing me that comment was a correct choice or not. But of course I'm not upset, I'm not angry. I understand that my friend needs to sometimes make difficult choices, difficult decisions. Sometimes it's really hard to tell what is a spoiler, what is not a spoiler. And at the same time, he needed to make this decision as fast as possible because he knew that today I was planning to watch the next episode. So yeah, I'm definitely not angry on him. I really appreciate all the work he has done, all the help which he provided. So, as I said, I'm not angry on him. But regardless, it is what it is. I have now seen that comment. I know that this Titan which ate Carla is not a Titan shifter, which definitely changes some of my theories, ideas regarding this episode 12. I guess the biggest question now is, why is she here? Like, why did she appear now? I suppose it's coincidence, right? I mean, that would be the most logical answer, right? But yeah, anyways, that's something that I wanted to quickly talk about now. Yeah, episode 12, as I talked in my previous video, I expect that it will continue off where episode 11 left off. Eren and Bertolt will probably try to get Eren back, try to capture him again. The Survey Corps will, I guess, try to escape with Eren. I mean, yeah, I guess this will be the, how should I say, main point of this episode. The fact that the Survey Corps will try to escape and Eren and Bertolt trying to recapture Eren, I suppose. But yeah, did I want to mention anything else? Yeah, of course, since this episode is the last episode of season 2, I will do the same thing which I did with the last episode of season 1. Basically, at the end of my discussion of episode 25 of season 1, I did a season overview. I talked about the season in general. I will do the same thing here with season 2. And also, somewhere at the end of this discussion, I will also make a analysis and discussion about the ending song of season 2, as I of course promised in one of my previous videos. But regardless, that's that. Let's go watching this episode. Scream. Okay. Whoa. Oh no. I have a bad feeling that Hannes will die. No, the music, man. The other side. What? Is he too tired or too angry or something like that? Oh, come on, man. No. Are you kidding me? And even if... Are you kidding me? I hate this bitch, man. Man. What? This reminds me... Wait, what's happening? Is he controlling the Titans? He's controlling the... Interesting. At first I thought that he just became physically stronger. That's why I said that it reminded me on something, and it did on Mikasa in her flashback episode in season 1. Oh, of course. I almost forgot about the fact that Hannes died because of this reveal regarding Eren's powers. So she will die?
女神様もそんなに悪い気分じゃないね。可能性があるとの一方で、ローゼの住民はウォールシーナ内に
Did she just say that she was a goddess? I need to check that back.
だがそのため当局は問題発生の1週間後にウォールローゼの安全宣言をするよりなかった。はい。失礼。コニーはラガコ村の出身です。
That's about his hometown, right?
村での調査結果を彼に確認してもらったところ、巨人たちにそうさせたのはエレンじゃないの。
So he's not aware of it, right?
だがそうでも言わなきゃあの状況は説明できねえ。やるしかねえ。巨人を操ってやる。ウォールマリアの不作、ライナーのやつを捕まえて償わせる。それが俺のなすべき償いだ。巨人の正体は人間であると。
まだ確証はないけど。
I guess the main question is, can they be retransformed? Or are they titans forever?
お前、何を笑ってやがる。
that was a bit creepy.
真実に近づいたというわけだ。我々はいずれ必ず突き破る。真実を隠す壁を。
Interesting.
まだかな。
Interesting. Okay, before I dive into my post-reaction thoughts, I just wanted to highlight the fact that you probably have noticed that the lightning has gotten a little bit worse compared to a few moments ago. And basically that's because right after I finished watching this episode 12, I needed to go somewhere. I needed to do something, and in my time of absence, the sun has already set, so that's why there's no sunlight. Therefore, the lightning quality has gotten a little bit worse, so that's something that I wanted to highlight. Also, before I start with this discussion, I just want to quickly rewatch two scenes from this episode. The first one being the scene where Ymir, Reiner and Bertold were having a conversation, and Ymir mentioned something about her being a goddess. And I just need to double check what specifically she said, if she really said that she's a goddess. And the other scene which I want to quickly rewatch is the final scene, the scene which was shown at the end, the Beast Titan scene. And I want to rewatch that scene because I just want to make sure that I understood that scene correctly. Basically, the way I understood it is that that guy, that shirtless person who was standing on the top of the Beast Titan, is actually the Beast Titan himself. Basically, I thought that that shirtless guy is the human form of the Beast Titan. But I'm not quite sure if that's true because that whole scene happened really quickly. So there's a high possibility that I misunderstood that whole scene. But yeah, I will just quickly rewatch those two scenes and then continue with the discussion. Okay, so I just rewatched both of these scenes, and yeah, Ymir did actually talk about being a goddess, and I suppose she was referring to her Titan shifting powers. But anyways, I will talk more about this topic a little bit later on, because now I want to focus on the other scene which I rewatched, the scene which happened at the end the Beast Titan scene. And now, after rewatching it, I think I can say that my initial understanding of that scene was correct. I think that guy, I think that human was actually the Beast Titan. That's his true form, right? I mean, for me, there are two main reasons as to why I believe that that guy is the human form of the Beast Titan. Basically, the reason number one is the fact that the Beast Titan, or should I say the Titan body of the Beast Titan, looked unconscious, right? It didn't look as if anyone was controlling that Titan body. And the other thing is the steam. There is steam coming out of the Beast Titan. Specifically, I think it seems that it's coming out of the neck area. And judging by that, I think I can assume that someone just exited the Beast Titan body, and that someone is probably this shirtless guy, right? So again, looking at these two reasons, I think it's safe to assume that this person, which was featured in that scene, was actually the Beast Titan himself. That's his human form. So yeah, I truly think that that guy is the true form of the Beast Titan, that's his true appearance, and it's great to know how he looks like. Although I also have to highlight the fact that a large portion of his body, especially his face, was covered in a shadow. So technically I still don't know how specifically he looks like, but I still think that I've seen enough of him, I've seen enough of his features to make the assumption that this guy, this person, is someone who I haven't seen before. I don't think there ever was a character up until now in Attack on Titan who would have a beard and the same hair as this guy. And especially I haven't seen anyone in this show so far being as muscular as this guy was. Like this guy, who probably is the Beast Titan, right, is extremely muscular. So my main point here is that I have never seen him before, that even though I now know his appearance, I still almost know nothing about him, right? I mean, if we compare this to episode 6, where I learned the true identity of the Colossal and Armored Titan, which was revealed to be Reiner and Bertolt, that reveal was completely different, because I already knew Reiner and Bertolt. I already knew a lot about them, so that's why I could make a lot of theories. That's why I was able to make some solid conclusions. But here I cannot do that because even though now I know how the Beast Titan looks like in his human form, I still don't know nothing about him. Because he's not an already known character. He's not an already established character. He's not someone that I have seen before. He's not someone that I have known before. I don't know his name. I don't know his true purpose, his true motives. I don't know anything about him. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great to be able to learn how he looks like. But at the same time, I just wanted to highlight the fact that me knowing how he truly looks like doesn't give me a lot of new pieces of information. I cannot make a lot of new theories just by knowing how he looks like, just by knowing his human form. I mean, in my opinion, maybe potentially the most important fact about his appearance is his hair color. He has blonde hair. I think based on that, I could make some theories, because I guess I could make a theory that he's the father of Historia, I mean, especially since her father seems to be really an important figure in this series, in this story. So I don't know, maybe the Beast Titan is her father. Also, I guess if we look at Annie, right? I mean, we all know based on the conversation between Ymir, Bertolt and Reiner in the Forest of the Giant Trees, that Reiner and Bertolt definitely knew and were connected somehow with the Beast Titan. And if they are, then probably Annie also is. So definitely Annie is somehow connected with the Beast Titan. But could she be his daughter? Especially if we look at her flashbacks from season 1. Her father was highlighted in those flashbacks. it seemed that her father was strongly involved into her life as the female titan, as if her father was behind everything, behind her actions as the female titan. So yeah, the Beast Titan could also be a father to her, and if the Beast Titan could be a father to Ani, then he definitely could also be a father to Reiner. And he also could be, the father to Armin. Because there's also a big mystery regarding Armin's parents. I have to admit that I forgot a lot about his parents, and the last time that I have talked about them was somewhere at the beginning of season 1, I think. But still, I do remember that his parents went outside of the walls, went into the outside world. And if I remember correctly, we don't know the fate of his parents. I don't think it was ever stated that they are dead. And it was also never stated that his parents were soldiers. I mean, because if they were members of the Survey Corps, then I guess, yeah, it would make sense that they went outside of the walls. But that was never stated. It was never stated that his parents were soldiers. And if they were, wouldn't then Armin at one point highlight that? At least, in their training days, he could have said something about the fact that he's also going in the footsteps of his parents. And then also, if we look at Armin's grandfather, if I remember correctly, if it was his grandfather who gave him the book about the outside world. And I think that book was illegal to read or something like that. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about his family, but it seems that his family is somehow connected with the outside world. So could it be that in reality, his father is the Beast Titan? As I said, it's a possibility. The Beast Titan could be a father to Reiner, Annie, Historia, Armin. He could be a father to any one of these. But I mostly am making these assumptions based off the hair color of the Beast Titan. But that, in my opinion, isn't enough. I don't know if that's enough to make these theories. I mean, they all are possible, but there's not much evidence for any of them, right? But yeah, that's that about the Beast Titan. And moving on, I now want to mention the death of Hannes. And yeah, I feel upset and sad about that, because for me, he died extremely quickly. Like, I have to admit, and I think I mentioned that a couple of times now through my discussions, I always expected that at the end, Hannes will die. I always expected that because of the fact that he wasn't able to save Carla, that he will try to make up for that he will sacrifice his own life for Eren or Mikasa. So I always expected him to die at one point, but I didn't expect him to die now. I don't know, I just felt that there's a lot of potential with his character. I don't know, I just wish that he would be featured a bit more. It's a similar thing with Mike, right? Where I talked about the fact that I always expected Mike to be featured a lot more in the future episodes. And I also expected that with Hannes. I expected that at one point he will be featured a lot more than he was. And as I said, I think that there was a lot of potential with that character, especially considering the fact that he was with us since the first episode, that he knew Armin, Mikasa and Eren as children. So in that regard, it's definitely disappointing to see him die already, because I really wanted to see more of him. And also, you know what makes his death even worse? It's the fact that he was killed by that Titan. He was killed by the Titan which killed Carla. He was killed by the Titan of which he got scared of in episode 1 of season 1. He got scared of that Titan. He ran away. He didn't even try to fight it. And now he got killed by that Titan. I don't know, it's just... It makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me upset just thinking about the way Hannes died. And also one sad thing about his death is just the fact that his death was overshadowed by a lot of different reveals in this episode. Like, especially the reveal about Eren having these additional powers. Like, because of that, I actually, at one point, if you watched my reaction, you probably have noticed that at one point I completely forgot about the fact that Hannes died. So that makes his death even worse, just the fact that that death was overshadowed by all the other different reveals of this episode. And speaking of these reveals, as I said, there was a lot of different information revealed in this episode, and I will talk about all of them in my episode breakdown. But before I go into the episode breakdown, I quickly want to mention the reveal about Eren's additional powers. Basically, it seems that he has the power to control Titans. And the more I think about it, the more mind-blowing this is, because he is now undeniably the most powerful character in this series. Like, I mean, he can on his own get rid of all the Titans. Like, he could make them all just eat one another, right? I mean, of course, yes, it was evident at the end that he's not aware of these powers. So I don't know if he can actually now control them. But I guess there's a possibility that he could. I guess there's a possibility that he could learn to control and master these abilities, and he could be unstoppable. And he doesn't even need to transform into a Titan. He can do this by just being a human. So yeah, the only thing which I will say for now is the fact that if Eren masters this, then there's no limits to him. He could truly save the world. He could save the humanity. But yeah, regardless, of course, I will focus on this a little bit later on in the episode breakdown. And yeah, I think that's that for my post-reaction thoughts. Let's move now to the episode breakdown. So this episode started off with Reiner throwing the Titans towards the Storvik corpse. And then we had, how should I say, multiple scenes or storylines which were happening simultaneously. And first off, I would like to focus on the scenes of Ymir. Basically, at first, she was running towards Erwin, and in her mind, she was thinking to herself that it is his fault, that he's at fault for the downfall of her plan. And at that moment, it seemed that she's going to attack him, and of course I was shocked by that, which luckily didn't happen. She actually helped him, she saved him from a different Titan, and I think that scene just showed how conflicted she feels. I think she feels torn apart. I think she understands both sides. I think she understands the Storvik corpse and the people inside the walls. And at the same time, she understands Reiner and Bertolt, especially because, as it seems, she knows the truth behind the actions of the warriors. So again, I think she probably really feels conflicted about this, and that was evident in this scene when she saved Erwin. And continuing with the scenes of Ymir, she was then running alongside Historia and was basically thinking to herself. And there are some very interesting things which she said, or rather, which she thought about. And basically, she was thinking about what should she do next. She was asking herself, if she isn't able to go with Reiner, what should she do? Should she go along with the Storvik corpse? Should she help them? Then she thought to herself that wouldn't give her a lot of options. And she then specifically said that even if I somehow live to see tomorrow, life inside the walls is going to become hell pretty soon. So I want to stop here and add that I guess this confirms in a way, or not confirms, but I think this is another piece of information which indicates that something negative, something horrible will happen to the people who live inside the walls. And I think this was now highlighted multiple times through these last episodes. I mean, in the previous episode, Ymir said to Historia that there's no future inside the walls. And I think Bertolt was talking about Historia and Ymir potentially being trapped inside the walls. And now you have in this episode Ymir thinking about the fact that the life inside the walls will become hell. So again, these things indicate that something negative, something horrible will happen to these people who live inside the walls. But the question is, what? What will happen? And I don't know. It's really hard to answer because I really don't know. My best guess would be that maybe the Wall Titans, maybe all of the Wall Titans will suddenly awake and start attacking the people. But I don't know. At the same time, it doesn't make sense because I thought that the Wall Titans were actually protecting the people. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Armin said, or was it Hanji? I can't remember who said that, but one of them said that the walls have been created by these titans. Basically, the walls are the hardened skin of these titans. So it's like, if those wall titans are protecting the people, why would then those start to attack the people? So my main point here is that I don't know if that's what Ymir was referring to. I don't know if she meant the Wall Titans. I don't know if she meant that the Wall Titans will be those who will be responsible for the life inside the walls becoming hell. But if she's not referring to them, to what is she referring? I guess the other logical answer could be the Beast Titan, but if I'm not mistaken, Ymir doesn't know what's the deal with the Beast Titan. It was Ymir who was asking Reiner and Bertolt questions about the Beast Titan, so again, there's no evidence to what could she be referring. So again, my best guess is that whatever she's talking about could be connected with the Wall Titans. But that, as I said, I don't know what she's referring to. I don't know what will happen. I don't know why will that thing happen. And I don't know when will that thing happen. Like, is there a specific day when the life inside the walls will become, as she said, hell? Again, I don't have a lot of information regarding this, but definitely the conclusion which I can make is that something horrible, something negative will happen to those people inside the walls. Anyways, let's continue with Ymir's thoughts. And again, here I have a couple of more lines of Ymir saved. The first one is, "This is my only chance to send Historia over to the other side." And the other one is, "I won't be able to protect her with my power alone." Now I'll quickly comment on this one, which I just read, because I think she's referring to those future negative events which will happen inside the walls, right? As I said, it seems that something extremely negative, something horrible will happen to the people inside the walls, and if Historia will be inside the walls, Ymir won't be able to protect her with her power. Her power won't be enough to protect Historia. That's that, but now let's focus on this line and I will read it again. "This is my only chance to send Historia over to the other side." This line this one is the most interesting to me, because it begs the question, what is she referring to? Why is this her only chance? And why, or rather, what is the other side? What does she mean by that? Now, I think when she said, "This is my only chance," I suppose she was referring to Reiner, right? I guess that's her only chance, because she needs Reiner's and Bertolt's help to send Historia over to the other side. I think that makes sense, right? But again, here comes the question. What is the other side? Like, what is she referring to? And I have two ideas to what she could be referring to. My first idea is that she's referring to her hometown, her home village. You know, maybe her hometown is located on a different continent and, you know, on the other side of the sea, the ocean. You know, for example, if I were to travel to the United States, I would say that I will travel on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, right? So maybe the same thing is happening here. Maybe Ymir is referring to her hometown, which is located on a different continent, and that is what she means when she said the other side. But I don't know if this idea is a correct idea, because if that's true, because if she really just wants to take Historia and bring her to a different continent, why would she then need the help of Reiner and Bertolt? Of course, assuming that she needs the help of Reiner and Bertolt. I talked a bit about this a bit earlier. As I said, I think she was referring to the fact that she needs the help of Reiner and Bertolt. And also, if you look at, I think it was episode 9, when in the Forest of the Giant Trees, Ymir, Bertolt and Reiner were talking about protecting Historia. So yeah, I definitely think that Ymir was referring to the fact that she needs their help, that she needs the help of Reiner and Bertolt. But again, if she just wants to reach her hometown, if she just wants to go to a different continent, why would she need their help? You know, that's the question, and that's why I don't know if this idea, this theory could be true. So yeah, that's one theory, but as I said, I also have a second theory, and that theory is that maybe Ymir, when she was talking about the other side, maybe she was referring to a different dimension, or rather a different realm or world. And first I want to explain how I even started to think about this theory. And basically the first thing would be the reveal of Eren's powers. And maybe you're asking yourself why, and my answer would be that because I think these Eren's powers are the highest level of magic, are the highest level of fantasy which I have seen thus far in Attack on Titan. You know, and when it comes to shows, especially fantasy shows in general, I think I can say there are different levels of fantasy. Some shows have very minimal fantasy elements, some others have a lot of fantasy elements, and based on that, you can kind of know what the limits are, you know, you can kind of know which theories are possible, which theories are too crazy, are too extreme. The higher the amount of fantasy elements, the more magic is involved in a show, in a story, the more crazy theories, the more fantasy-based theories someone can make. And the same thing is here. After seeing these powers of Eren, I think I in a way got the allowance to make more crazy theories, more fantasy-based theories. So that's one thing. The other thing is that, you know, as I was reading this line of Ymir, when she mentioned the other side, the first thing which came to my mind was basically afterlife, right? I think usually in today's society you hear people talking about how someone who died went to the other side, that their soul went into the afterlife. You know, and that immediately started to give me the idea of a different dimension. I mean, because definitely Ymir doesn't want to kill Historia, so she definitely wasn't talking about Historia dying. But I think that she could be talking about, as I said, a different dimension, a different realm. Then the third thing which inspired this theory is basically something which Reiner said, and I think he said that in, I don't know, was it episode 9 or 10 of season 2, but he said that there's no future for this world. And this again, you know, gives you the idea that maybe there are multiple worlds, multiple realms, right? And then the fourth thing which inspired this whole theory is the Norse mythology. And you're probably asking yourself, why the Norse mythology? And basically one reason would be that, I think I talked about this already now on several occasions, that it seems that some elements in Attack on Titan are based or inspired by some European cultures, European mythologies. Some users in the comment section have also highlighted this, and I think one person in the comment section once highlighted that the Titans are inspired by the Norse and the Greek mythology. So I always think about those two mythologies and mythologies in general when I try to find new ideas when it comes to theories, when I try to figure out what could happen next. So yeah, I was thinking about these two mythologies, trying to find some ideas, some similarities between this show and these two mythologies, and as soon as I started to think about the idea of there being different dimensions, of there being different realms, I remembered on the Norse mythology, because in the Norse mythology you have the idea of different realms. There in that mythology you have the concept of 9 realms, of 9 worlds, which are connected through the magical tree. I think that tree is called Yggdrasil, and you can access these worlds through the rainbow bridge called Bifrost. So could it be that something similar exists in this universe of Attack on Titan? Could a concept like this, could a concept of multiple realms exist in Attack on Titan? And maybe that's what Ymir was referring to when she was talking about the other side. Maybe she was talking about a different realm. And probably to access that realm, you need to do it through magic. And maybe that's why this whole thing was her only chance to get Historia to that realm, because probably Reiner and Bertold are the ones which know how to access that realm, which have the ability to go to that realm. Maybe that's why she potentially needs the help of Reiner and Bertold, because they can help her to bring Historia to that different realm. So yeah, again, I think this theory could be correct. I think there is a possibility that there are some different worlds, that there are some different realms which exist inside this universe, which you can access through a magical source, just like you have in the Norse mythology, the Bifrost Bridge, right? But yeah, that's my second theory. But yeah, anyways, continuing with the scenes of Ymir, as I said earlier, she was running alongside Historia, and Historia started to interrogate her, started to ask her about her true motives. And basically, Historia came to the conclusion that it seems that Ymir was doing these things to protect her, to protect Historia. That's why then Historia highlighted that even Ymir herself said that they both should stop living for other people, that they should start living for themselves. And then she also said that when she's with Ymir, she's not afraid. And then we had that great scene where Koni, Sasha, Historia went into battle, also Ymir went into battle and started to fight. And yeah, I definitely liked this whole scene. I liked the fact how the relationship between Ymir and Historia developed. I also liked the fact that Historia highlighted to Ymir that she should start living for herself. And I like that because I truly want Ymir to start living for herself, especially because she highlighted the fact that she always lived for others, that she wants to stop living for other people, but until this point, she clearly didn't stop, right? She was now, in a way, living for Historia, right? I mean, it's debatable. I think someone could argue that she actually was living for herself because she cares so much for Historia that's why her main goal, her greatest wish is to protect Historia. and that's why she basically, in a way, did what she wanted to do, and that's why, again, someone could argue that she was living for herself, but I don't know, I think she wasn't. I think she was now living for Historia, but that's just my opinion, right? But yeah, that's that for Ymir's scenes. I will now move on to basically the scenes or the storyline of Hannes versus the Titan who killed Carla. And yeah, here I want to say that ever since, I think it was episode 8, when Hannes said that he will do anything to save Eren, even if it costs his own life, even if he will lose his own life in that process. Ever since he said that, I was super afraid for Hannes. I really feared that he could die. And as soon as he started to fight this Titan, I started to expect the worst, and the worst thing happened. He died. And again, I talked about this a lot in my post-reaction thoughts, but again, I want to highlight the fact that his death just, in a way, irritates me, because this Titan which killed Carla was, in a way, the symbol of his failure, you know? She was the symbol of the fact that he wasn't able to save Carla. And it's just so annoying that he had to die by the hands of this Titan. And also, as I already talked about this, I wish that Hannes would be featured more. I wish that I would be able to see more of him. I mean, I always expected that at the end, when this story finishes, I think Hannes will be one of those which die. I never expected that he will survive the whole thing, but I expected that he will be featured more. I don't know. And this is not a critique of this story. I think this actually is a praise. I think this story succeeded because I want to see more of him, because I feel upset about his death. And yeah, and basically as Hannes was fighting that Titan, as I already mentioned, we had different scenes going on which were happening simultaneously. Jean got injured because of the fact that Reiner was throwing Titans, and Armin was trying to save Jean's life. And then we had this scene where Erwin saw his soldiers dying. And then of course we had the whole thing about Eren. He was trying to transform and he wasn't able to transform. And I think all these scenes were a symbol of hell. Here we have seen again how difficult this situation is, how many people are suffering. But basically, yeah, as I said, Hannes was fighting that Titan and he got eventually caught, and then his whole death scene happened. It was extremely similar to Carla's death, like some shots were almost identical, and he then, yeah, sadly died, and Eren had basically a mental breakdown, I suppose, because he wasn't able to transform and he wasn't able to save Hannes. Now here I still have the question, why wasn't he able to transform? And one reason could be that maybe he was too exhausted, maybe his energy level was too low and that's why he wasn't able to transform. Although I don't believe that that's the case, because if we look at Reiner and Ymir, they both were able to transform. None of them had any energy issues, so I don't think that Eren had energy issues. I don't think he was too exhausted. I actually think that he was afraid of failure. I think he was too afraid to fail. Of course, I could be wrong, and if I am, please correct me, but that's just my interpretation. That's how I understood that scene, that he was just so afraid of failure that fear got into his head, and that resulted in the fact that he wasn't able to focus, and therefore he wasn't able to transform. Now, there are many things which influenced my way of thinking here. The first thing is just the sheer importance of that moment, I suppose. You know, Hannes' life was in danger, so Eren knew that he needs to act quickly, he needs to save Hannes. And also that Titan is, of course, as we know, the Titan which killed his mother, and by killing that Titan, Eren would be finally able to avenge his mother, to finally take revenge, and he wanted to prove to himself that he is capable of saving other people. In a way, this moment was his stage. This was the moment he waited for, to finally see if all those years of training, if all those years of suffering have paid off. Was it worth it to wait for this moment? And again, I think this moment was really important for him because of the fact that he wanted to avenge his mother, because of the fact that he wanted to, of course, save Hannes, and with that prove to himself that he is capable of saving people. So again, this moment was extremely important to him, and we all know how it is with important moments, with important events in life. We don't want to fail. We don't want to fail in important situations because, well, they are important to us. We do not want to fail them. That's why we fear the possibility of failing. That's why often in important situations, people can become too afraid to fail. Now, what makes his situation even worse, I think, is his own personality. He was determined and confident to succeed. And I think that can also lead to being afraid of failure. Maybe that sounds confusing, but let's take a look at an example. Let's imagine that you and your friend go to an archery competition. And let's say that you are not determined to win. Let's say that you don't act confident, that you basically act in a way as an underdog. And then let's say that you shoot and miss the target. Will you feel embarrassed? Will you feel horrible? Maybe slightly, but you won't feel too bad, But on the other hand, if you will act extremely confident, if you will be extremely determined to win, and then if you miss the target, you will feel extremely embarrassed, you will feel horrible, it will be tough to take that. That's why in situations when we act confident, when we are determined, we do not want to fail because we know how tough it will be, how hard, how horrible we will feel in case of failure. So again, and I think Eren is in a similar situation, because of his personality combined with the importance of this moment, I think that resulted in him being too afraid to fail. And also, it's not only his fault, it's not only his fault that he felt this pressure, that he felt this fear. I think it's also the fault of many other people, There have been so many occasions where he was being put under pressure because of what other people have said. You had many people talking about the fact that Eren is the only hope of humanity. Jean is one of the people who said to Eren that he cannot afford to screw up. We had Rico at the Battle of Trust having her speech and explaining to Eren all the different reasons why he's not allowed to fail. So again, it's not only him, it's also a lot of other people who have put a lot of pressure onto him. So I think this pressure, the fear, everything resulted in him being just too afraid to fail. And again, that's why he wasn't able to focus and that's why he wasn't able to transform. But as I said, I could be wrong. That's just my opinion, that's just my interpretation. So yeah, Eren wasn't able to transform, and in the meantime, as I already said, Hannes got caught, Hannes got eaten, and Eren then had a breakdown. He started to cry and laugh at the same time. He said to himself that he still isn't able to save anyone, and then Mikasa said to him that that's not true. She thanked him for all of the things he did, for the fact that he was always by her side, that he taught her how to live, that he wrapped the scarf around her neck, and that whole scene was just amazing. The music was gorgeous, and I loved every second of it. And as I said a couple of seconds ago, a lot of people have put, through this show, a lot of people have put a lot of pressure onto Eren, even himself, of course. And Mikasa did here quite the opposite. She actually took some pressure off him. She showed him that he already did a lot, that he already helped a lot, that he already achieved a lot. And I think he now realized that. I think he realized that, judging by the fact how his face was just shocked, that whole scene. And then, of course, the fact that he discovered his true potential, that he acquired these new powers. I think that, in a way, shows that he progressed as a person. That he, inside himself, accepted what Mikasa was saying. I think he realized that he truly achieved a lot already. That he already did a lot. That he already saved a lot of people. And it would also make sense from a perspective that probably this was his lowest moment, that this was the most horrible he felt in his entire life. And many people say that when you are at your lowest moment, that's the time when you're open to a change the most. So it makes sense. It makes sense that he was feeling extremely horrible, that he was at the lowest point of his life, and he accepted a change within himself, and that change was accepting all the things which he did, all of his achievements, accepting the fact that he already did a lot, He probably, is now even more proud of everything he did, and that can help you with appreciating yourself, with getting appreciation for yourself. That can help you with loving yourself, which I think is crucial. I think in life it's really important that we as humans love ourselves, that we as humans appreciate ourselves if we want to live a happy life, if we want to avoid stress, if we want to avoid depression. I think we truly need to appreciate ourselves. And I think Eren started to do that. I think after Mikasa's speech, he started to do that. And one thing before I move on from this scene, it did seem as if Mikasa and Eren almost kissed. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm not understanding that scene correctly, but it seemed as if at least Mikasa was trying to kiss him, or she expected a kiss. Now, if that is true, then that would confirm that she actually loves him, that Mikasa sees him more than just a brother. But on the other hand, that scene showed to us that Eren does not feel the same way towards Mikasa, or at least it seemed so, And I always thought that that's the case, I don't remember through this show that that anything would happen which would indicate that Eren has any romantic feelings towards Mikasa. So I don't think he sees her as a potential lover. But on the other hand, there were some hints that Mikasa does have some romantic feelings towards Eren, but I never was sure. But now I guess with this scene it was confirmed. But yeah, after this conversation, after this interaction between Mikasa and Eren, Eren discovered acquired, his new powers. And I know that in my post-reaction thoughts I mostly talked about the fact that he can control titans, but after rewatching this episode when I was editing my reaction, I now realized that that's, or at least I believe so, that is not his only power. It seems that he now got 3 new powers. The first one being superhuman strength, like he punched the titan and that titan went flying. So it definitely seems that he has superhuman strength now. And here I would just quickly like to stop and add something which I already mentioned while I was watching the episode, and that is the fact that really reminds me on Mikasa's backstory episode. Because in that episode, in the scene when she was kidnapped and Eren was telling to her that she should fight, the yellow lightning appeared, and then with her legs she made like a hole into the ground. And as you all know, I never knew what to make of that scene. I mean, yeah, I had a theory about her potentially being a Titan shifter, but I never was sure if that's the case, because I always thought that in that particular scene from her backstory episode, when she accepts the fact that she needs to fight, I always thought that there's a high possibility that yellow lightning and her making a hole into the ground was just a symbol. Was just a symbol of her accepting the fact that she needs to fight. But now, after seeing this episode, after seeing the similarities between Eren getting physically stronger and that scene from Mikasa's backstory, I think it's safe to assume that Mikasa actually has one or multiple special abilities. Potentially, she could be a Titan Shifter. And that would be extremely interesting, and it would make a lot of sense, especially if she is also a special type of a Titan Shifter, like Eren. I mean, he is the coordinate, right? Maybe Mikasa also has some additional special abilities, just like Eren has. And it would explain a lot. It would explain why Dr. Jäger was visiting their family when she was a child, why he was often visiting them. Maybe because he was doing some experiments on her, maybe because he was injecting the serum into her, you know? And that again, her being a Titan Shifter, potentially by the hands of Dr. Jäger, would explain why it seems that she and Eren have sort of like a psychic telepathic connection. Again, if we look at her backstory episode of season 1, I think it was episode 6, but I'm not sure. When she was kidnapped, it was Eren who found her. But if I'm not mistaken, it was never explained how. How was Eren aware of her location? So that is probably the main thing which always indicated that they have a psychic connection, that they have a telepathic connection. And that could be explained by the fact that they both have these special abilities, that they both are Titan Shifters. I mean, of course, there isn't any guarantee that she's a Titan Shifter. That's just my guess. Maybe she just has some special abilities. Maybe she's not a Titan Shifter, but maybe she does possess at least one or multiple special abilities. But no matter what's the truth, I think something's undeniable. She has, or at least she had, a special magical paranormal ability or even multiple abilities. I think that's undeniable. But yeah, of course, going back to my main point, I talked about the fact that it seems that Eren has 3 new abilities. As I said, one is the fact that he got physically stronger. Now the second one, I don't know if I'm correct on this one, but as you can see in this picture, it seems as if he supercharged, made that Titan stronger. I don't know, maybe this is just a visual effect, maybe this is just the wind around the Titan, but it seemed as if a form of energy was going around Eren and also that Titan, and then that Titan went flying in the air. Again, I don't know if that's true because it wasn't clearly evident, but it is a possibility that he can supercharge, make Titans stronger. And then, of course, the third ability, which I already talked a lot about in my post-reaction thoughts, and of course the most obvious ability, is the fact that he controls Titans. And just as I highlighted before, this definitely makes him now the most powerful character of those which we already know. I think that's almost undeniable, except the Beast Titan. The Beast Titan could potentially be stronger than him. You know, with the Beast Titan, it's just all the question marks. I almost know nothing about him. It's so hard to determine if the Beast Titan is a stronger or maybe a weaker Titan Shifter. I mean, I suppose he's a strong Titan Shifter. It would make sense if he's weak, but still, I don't know if he's close or maybe even stronger than Eren. And I'll talk more about the Beast Titan at the end of this discussion, but still, my main point here is that I'm almost sure that Eren is the strongest character. The only one who can potentially be stronger than him is the Beast Titan. But that's just because we don't know his potential. We don't know how truly strong the Beast Titan is. But yeah, as I said, Eren discovered these powers, he used them, he finally killed the Titan who ate his mother and Hannes. That was definitely a satisfying moment. He used his powers to attack Reiner and Bertolt, and then he and the Survey Corps used this opportunity to retreat. And yeah, this whole scene, him using these powers, was great. They used the same music which they have used in episode 6 when Reiner and Bertolt transformed into the armored and colossal titan, and as I highlighted back then, I will highlight it again. This is definitely one of my favorites out of this show. I love this music. Also in that scene, what was interesting was the fact that whenever he used his powers, it was sensed, it was felt by all the other Titan shifters. Bertolt felt that, Reiner felt that, Ymir felt that. They all felt his powers, which is interesting. Does that mean anything? That they were able to sense his powers? I think that proves that he is somehow connected with all the Titans, right? Even the Titan shifters. That would be my guess, you know. I mean, he has to be somehow connected with the Titans through a telepathic connection, right? Because if not, then how is he able to control and send, how should I say, instructions, you know, to all the Titans? How can he give orders to all the Titans if he's not telepathically connected with them, right? So Eren has to be telepathically connected to all the Titans, I suppose. And it seems that he also is in a way connected to the Titan shifters. So does that mean that he can potentially also control the Titan shifters? I don't know. I think it's a possibility. But yeah, some takeaways from this episode were also the fact that Ymir said that now with Eren being the coordinate, that means that there truly could also be a future inside the walls. Ymir also said that Eren being the coordinate explains why Reiner wanted to kidnap him so badly. And speaking of this, do Eren's powers explain to us what Reiner and Bertolt's and also Annie's motives are, what their true goal and motive are? Does me knowing Eren's powers help me understand the actions of the warriors? I don't think so. Like the only assumption, the only guess which I can make is that Reiner needs Eren to help him fight the Wall Titans. As I mentioned earlier in this discussion, maybe the Wall Titans are the ones which are the problem. Maybe the Wall Titans, when they awake, will start to attack humans, and maybe the Wall Titans are almost invincible, and Eren is the only one who can defeat them. You know, maybe Reiner needed Eren's help to defeat the Beast Titan. You never know. You know, maybe it's something else. You never know. Definitely, we now know that Reiner needed Eren because of the fact that he's the coordinate, because of the fact that he has these Titan-controlling powers. But other than that, me knowing Eren's powers does not explain to me why the warriors were trying to achieve their mission, why they were trying to basically make a genocide. I don't think that tells me a lot about the true goal of the warriors. But yeah, as I said, everyone retreated except for Ymir. There was a scene between her and Historia, and after that scene, Ymir went and started to help Reiner and Bertolt. And of course, her decision to do that is explained later on in their conversation between her, Bertolt, and Reiner. But yeah, everyone else in the Survey Corps retreated, and as they were retreating, Armin was, as usually, narrating the story, and there was a line which I saved, which he said because I found it really interesting. And that line is, "At the time, I didn't understand why Ymir stayed behind." So basically, that means that at one point Armin will understand why Ymir stayed behind. And does that mean anything in the bigger picture of the story? I don't think so. I think it only means that Armin will at one point learn the truth as to why Ymir stayed behind, and that Armin will at least survive till that point. You know, so now I know that Armin will not die until he learns the truth about why Ymir stayed behind. Of course, there's a possibility that I am overthinking this, that I am overcomplicating this and looking too much into this line, but I don't know, that's just how I understand this. But anyways, as I said, the Survey Corps retreated, and then we were shown that Ymir, Bertolt, and Reiner succeeded, that they escaped from the Titans. And then they basically were resting, were catching their breath on the top of the wall. And then I don't know if it was Reiner or if it was Bertolt, but one of them asked Ymir why. Why has she helped them? Why did she go along with them? And she answered by saying that she will basically be their trophy, and that she knows that Bertolt and Reiner, cannot return to their hometown empty-handed. Now I will stop here because I already have 2 takeaways from this. And my first takeaway is that this, in a way, is a new piece of evidence, a new piece of information which indicates that there is someone above the warriors, that there is a group of people, a person, basically someone who's behind them, who is quote-unquote their boss, you know? And of course this was already something that was an idea of mine even before I watched this episode, mainly because of the fact that I just don't believe that 4 kids would go on their own and make a plan to attack all the humans. That just doesn't make sense. I think I'm almost certain that there is someone to whom the warriors need to answer to, you know, to whom they need to report their mission. That there is someone who, in the first place, has sent them on their mission. And here, when Ymir said that she knows that Bertolt and Reiner cannot return empty-handed to their hometown, that to me just furthermore proves that there is someone above the warriors, that there is someone who is, as I said, quote-unquote their boss, their leader, I guess. That's one takeaway. Now my second takeaway is the fact that if I am understanding this correctly, Ymir intends to return her Titan shifting ability, but in order for that to happen, she will have to be eaten by a Titan, which would mean that she will die. So basically she, in a way, is intending to die. And I think that is true. I think that's actually the case, judging by Bertolt and Reiner's reaction, and judging by the fact that Ymir even furthermore explained her decision, and that she was actually crying a bit towards the end of this conversation. So yeah, I think Ymir truly intends to return her Titan shifting ability, which would, as I said, mean that she will die. I definitely hope that that won't happen. I definitely hope that, I don't know, that they will find a better solution. I definitely hope that something will happen which will prevent this, which will prevent her from dying. Like, in general, I just hope that she doesn't die. I have to say that I'm also not too worried because, I don't know, I just have a feeling that Ymir is one of those characters who will survive this whole thing. Like, I don't know, that's just my feeling. There's no evidence which would prove that, but you know, at least in my experience, sometimes those characters which are prepared to die, those characters which have accepted their death, usually those end up being those characters which survive. Based on that, I have a feeling that Ymir might survive, but again, I don't know, there's no evidence for that, and this is Attack on Titan. At the end of the day, anything can happen, and I guess we'll just have to see what specifically happens. And yeah, as I said, she basically then furthermore explained her decision. She basically said that without the warriors, she wouldn't have woken up, that she's basically just returning her borrowed time. And here I have to say that I don't completely understand her decision, and that's mainly because I don't understand the situation in which, or rather, I don't know what is the situation of Reiner and Bertolt. I don't know the truth regarding them and the warriors in general. So for me, it's hard to truly understand Ymir's decision. But in a way, I do understand her. I do understand that she wouldn't be here without the warriors, that she wouldn't be given this new chance at life without the warriors. So that's why I guess in a way she wants to help the warriors. And then Ymir finished this conversation by saying that it wasn't that bad being a goddess. I think she said something in the lines of this. And of course, you probably can judge by my reaction that when I first saw her saying that this line was extremely interesting to me. And it still is. And that's mainly because it could mean nothing, or it could mean something. On one hand, it could mean nothing because maybe she was speaking in a symbolic way, in a figurative way. Maybe she just feels like a quote-unquote goddess because of the fact that she's so powerful, because she's a Titan shifter. But on the other hand, maybe she was speaking literally. Like, maybe she truly is a goddess, which would mean that also all the Titan shifters in general are gods. And in a way, this could make sense if you think about it. All the Titan shifters are extremely powerful. Gods are also usually extremely powerful. Then all the Titan shifters have this regeneration power. So in a way, they are almost invincible. Also, gods are usually almost invincible. And then you have some other hints, like if we look at the ending, there are some images which look like images of gods. Then this whole yellow lightning thing. When a Titan shifter transforms, there's a yellow lightning which strikes him from the sky. And lightning in general, lightning striking from the sky was always a symbol of gods. And then in my previous discussion, I ironically talked about the fact that the warriors seem to act as if they were gods. And now in this episode, we have Ymir saying that she was a goddess. So again, looking at all these things, it does seem likely that gods could exist within this universe. More specifically, it could be that the Titan shifters are considered gods. But even if that's true, even if it's true that the Titan shifters are actually gods, I, at this point, cannot make any theories or conclusions out of this. And that's mainly because there are so many different interpretations and definitions of what God actually means. Some definitions say that a god is an entity which created the world, but in some definitions, a god is just a human with supernatural abilities. And and in general, almost each show has their own definition of a god, especially fantasy-based shows. So that's why I need to know what is the definition of a god, who is considered to be a god within this universe, within the universe of Attack on Titan. But before I know that, again, as I said, I cannot make any theories or conclusions, even if it's true that the Titan shifters are considered gods. I mean, in my opinion, a god is someone who is extremely powerful and almost invincible, which I already said the Titan shifters are. But also a god is someone who was born with this power, with this supernatural power. And maybe that's true. Maybe I could see the warriors being born with these powers, especially because their Titan forms are skinless. I think it would be too much of a coincidence that their all Titan forms are skinless. I think then this indicates that they are in a way connected. Maybe them being gods born with this power would explain that, would explain why their Titan forms are all skinless. But then on the other hand, Ymir, as we all know, definitely wasn't born with these powers. She stole them from Marcel. But maybe Marcel was born with these powers. Maybe Marcel was also, I suppose his Titan form was also skinless, right? So maybe in a way the warriors, basically Reiner, Bertolt, Annie and Marcel, were all born with Titan shifting powers. And Ymir, when she stole that power from Marcel, became a sort of like fake god. Maybe she's a fake god and the warriors are, true gods. I don't know, that's a possibility. I guess then there's also the question about Eren. Was he... I guess not, right? I guess he probably wasn't born with this power, considering that Dr. Jäger injected that serum into him. So I suppose he became a Titan shifter because of his father. So I guess he also would be considered a fake god. And that's why his Titan form is not skinless. I don't know, as I said, it's hard to assume anything. This is just me guessing right now. Mainly because, as I said, I don't know what is the definition of a god within this universe of Attack on Titan. But yeah, as I said, that conversation between Ymir, Bertolt and Reiner ended here, and then we had a conversation between Eren, Mikasa, Jean and Armin, and basically through their conversation we learned that Jean and Armin have figured out that Eren has Titan controlling abilities. And then also Jean said to Eren that he's in a tricky position because I think he said that Eren's actions will now determine if all those deaths, if all those lost lives were worth it. If all those sacrifices were worth it. And then after that we have seen the conversation between Levi, Erwin, Pixis, Connie and Hanji. Hanji basically explained her finding, she explained that it seems that all the Titans were basically humans at one point, that the Titans are basically humans who transformed into Titans, and of course that shocked everyone. Levi said that, I think he said, does that actually mean that all these years when he killed Titans, he was actually killing humans? And I definitely understand what he's trying to say, but I don't think he should feel guilt over this. I mean, what else could they have done differently? I mean, if you don't fight the Titans, then humanity will go extinct, So I don't think Levi should feel any guilt. Because it's not his fault at all. Then Hanji and Connie and also Pixis all left that room, and then we were shown how basically Erwin was smiling in a really creepy way, and Levi asked him, what is he smiling about? That really shocked Levi, and Erwin answered that with each day they're getting closer to removing the wall between them and the truth. And and thinking about this, I have to say that his reaction probably wasn't that surprising. I mean, although yeah, it was creepy, but at the same time, it just again shows how much this means to him. At least in my eyes, he and Eren are the two individuals which are most determined to defeat all the Titans. That's not saying that everyone else is not interested, Of course, everyone wants to survive. I think everyone wants to get rid of the Titans. But I think that Erwin and Eren are even more determined than anyone else. And this was definitely evident in this scene because it showed how much learning this new information meant to Erwin. And also, as you all know, as I was watching this episode, I asked myself that one of the most important questions right now is, can these people be saved? Can you retransform a normal, mindless, classic Titans back to a human? And I think I already got this answer within this episode. And that happened actually within the conversation between Ymir, Reiner and Bertolt, and I forgot to talk about this. Basically, when Ymir said that she wouldn't awake without the warriors, with that, she basically indicated that there's no other way of becoming a human again if you don't become a Titan shifter. Which basically means that there's no way of saving all these people. And that means that Connie's mother cannot be saved, right? I mean, yes, she could potentially be saved if she eats Eren, but what would you achieve with that? I think sadly, these people, at least it seems, have no hope to be saved. Maybe in the future we will learn a new solution, a solution of which nor Reiner, nor Bertolt, nor Ymir were aware of. But at this point, it seems that all these people, which became normal standard Titans, will be trapped forever. And then at that point the episode almost ended. We only had that one scene where the Beast Titan appeared and there was a guy standing on the top of the Beast Titan, and as I said in my post-reaction thoughts, it seems that that person is the Beast Titan himself. And as I said, I talked about this a lot already in my post-reaction thoughts. Now I would only like to add two things. One thing would be that now after editing my reaction, I sort of realized that the Beast Titan is like not only muscular, but extremely muscular to the point that it seems unrealistic. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know if his body is normal or not. I mean, you all know that I have not seen a lot of anime, but from what I have seen, I can say that I sometimes saw some unrealistic body types, some body types which to me seemed extremely unusual, but within that show, within that universe, within that anime, that body type was not unusual, but it was actually a normal body type. And I think I already talked about this in season 1 when the female Titan and Levi were battling. I talked about the fact that sometimes in anime it seems that they like to do some unrealistic things, which are unrealistic compared to our world, our real life world. And because of that, I sometimes don't know what is normal within a universe or not, So my main point is that I don't know if this body within this universe of Attack on Titan is normal or if it's unusual, And if that's the case, if it is unusual, then that would probably mean that this guy, who probably is the Beast Titan, is not a regular human. But as I said, I don't know if that's the case, because I don't know if him having this body is normal or not. But yeah, then the only other thing which I want to highlight here is the fact that I want to talk about this reveal regarding Eren's powers and what does that mean for the Beast Titan. Now, why am I creating this topic? Basically because of the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, the Beast Titan has also the ability to control Titans. And that was evident in episode 1 of season 2, when he told some Titans that they are allowed to kill Mike. And also I think it was in episode 3, when he appeared and then suddenly a ton of Titans also appeared and then they all started to attack the castle. So it definitely seems that he also can control Titans, although I don't know if their powers work equally in the same way. Like, in a way it seems that maybe the Beast Titan is only giving orders to the Titans, but with Eren it's undeniably that he's completely controlling them as, puppets, as if they were an extension of his body. So maybe their powers do not work in a similar way, maybe their powers are not equally powerful, but something is undeniable: they are similar. They both are capable of controlling Titans in their own ways. So does that mean anything? Maybe it could potentially indicate that the Beast Titan is also as powerful as Eren, if not even stronger. It could mean that maybe also the Beast Titan is considered to being a coordinate. Or maybe he could be something like an anti-coordinate? I don't know, it's extremely difficult to say because of this whole mystery about the Beast Titan. I know almost nothing about him, and all the things which are connected to him are extremely, I wouldn't say weird, but mysterious. Like, why is his Titan form so much different, so unique? Like, his Titan form is probably the most unique out of every Titan form. Why did he appear now at this point? What was he trying to achieve when he started to attack the humans within the Walrosse and Walshina territory? Like, there are so many question marks around him, and it's just, again, it's super hard to make any theories about him because he's such a big mystery. But yeah, that's where the episode ended. Now let's talk about the information card. And this was not a usual info card which would contain a specific information about something within this world. This was basically, it seems, a statement from the Survey Corps. Basically, in this statement, the Survey Corps said that they are now aware that the Colossal Titan was basically a human, or rather is a human, which means that the Titans are not some divine beings which were sent to punish them for their sins. And in that statement, they promised that they will do everything they can to fight back these invaders. To me, what stands the most out of this info card is, I suppose, the fact that This info card shows to me that some people thought that the Titans are some divine beings which were sent to punish the people, which is definitely really, how should I say, reasonable or expected, I guess, because usually whenever something bad, paranormal, supernatural happens, people immediately think that this is a divine punishment. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I need to add anything or comment anything else when it comes to this info card. Now, I don't have any predictions for the upcoming episode because this was the season finale, but I do have a final thought, and basically it's connected with this image. As you can see here, this is Eren when he acquired his new powers. And what stands out to me is the fact that he has these markings on. Now, I always thought that these markings are burns. That, like, let's look at this picture. You can see Reiner being in the armored titan and his face is connected with the skin of the titan. I thought that because of the fact that their face is connected with the skin, that results in them getting their face burned. That those markings were basically burns on their face. But here Eren was not in a titan. He did not transform into his titan form. So why have those markings on the face appeared? I don't have an answer for that, but it is interesting, and I wanted to highlight that before moving on. But yeah, that is it. That is it for this episode. Now, as I promised in my introduction for this video, I said that I will make a more detailed discussion about the ending. I did something like that already in my reaction to episode 1 of season 2, but as you all know, at that time, this was my first viewing of that ending, and those were just my initial impressions of which I was talking about within that discussion. So today I will go frame by frame and try to analyze as much as possible. How will I do this? I will probably now first go through this ending on my own to make sure that then the discussion will go a bit faster. And considering the fact that all the information revealed in this ending are just tiny pieces of information, I have to say that I probably won't make any theories about this ending. I will probably mostly highlight some of my ideas, initial impressions. I'll probably make a ton of guesses, I suppose. But regardless, as I said, I'll now quickly go through this ending on my own, and then I will discuss all the things which I noticed. Okay, so now after going through this ending, I have to say that there are some things which were extremely interesting, which I now, noticed for the first time. And basically, I now have a new theory. And I think I will start with that theory. I will now first explain that theory, and then I will go slowly, frame by frame, and comment on each frame of this ending. So now, as I said, to start with my theory, basically, or maybe this is not a new theory, but more of like an extension of something which I already said within this discussion. And that is, if you remember, when I talked about the Beast Titan and Eren, I said that maybe the Beast Titan is an anti-coordinate. Well, maybe this theory or idea could actually be true. And here's why. Now, I mainly got this idea because of this, the first image. Here we have a demon, devil-like creature, right? And a woman. And now here's the thing. If you look at the face of this demon, he has hair and facial hair. He has blonde, wavy hair and a blonde beard. And I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe I'm just overcomplicating this thing, but this guy who appeared at the end, this guy who probably is the Beast Titan, doesn't he also have blonde wavy hair and a blonde beard? Like, I don't know, it's weird to just base this off of this demon having hair and a beard. But I don't know, it's something I cannot unsee, especially because usually demons and devils don't have any hair at all, at least as far as I know. And then of course we have this woman, right? This woman is also interesting because potentially this woman could be the same woman which is seen in this picture, could be one of the women seen in this picture, and also potentially could be the same woman which is in this picture. And especially here, it seems that this woman here is like a supreme god, the main goddess. And if this woman from this last picture is the same woman from the first picture, it would mean that here we have interaction between a demon or the devil and the main goddess. So could it be, especially if it's true that the Titan shifters are considered gods, that Eren, because of the fact that he's the coordinate, is now considered the main god? Maybe this woman was his, how it's called, not ancestor, but I think the right word is predecessor, if I'm not mistaken. I think you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So maybe this woman was the predecessor of Eren, maybe she was the first supreme goddess and now Eren is the supreme god. And maybe this devil here is actually the Beast Titan, this guy who appeared at the end of this episode. And if that's the true, that basically the Beast Titan is the devil or the demon and that Eren is the supreme main god, that would mean that in a way they're the polar opposites, right? Which would mean that actually, as I said, that in a way, if Eren is considered the coordinate, that could mean that the Beast Titan is in a way an quote-unquote anti-coordinate. And it would make sense, as I said, they both have similar powers, and that's usually always the case, isn't it? That a demon and a god are both powerful, have both similar powers, but they're basically the polar opposites of each other. Mostly in terms of, one represents good and one represents evil. And also, I could see why potentially Eren could be a supreme main god, father of all gods, if that makes sense. Because, I don't know, let's look again at the Norse mythology. There you have Odin. And Odin, if I'm not mistaken, was in a way connected with each god through Odin Force. And Eren is also in a way connected to every Titan through, I guess, the Yellow Lightning. So maybe the Yellow Lightning is in a way Attack on Titan's counterpart to Odin Force. Of course, this whole thing is just a theory based on this ending. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't have any other significant pieces of information which could support this theory that Eren is the main god and that the Beast Titan is the devil. But it does make sense, doesn't it? I could see this happening. But regardless, let's now go quickly through all of the frames in this ending. As I said, here we have the first frame. I already mentioned it seems like an interaction between a demon and a woman. This whole image looks like I think it's called a fresque. I think a painting on the wall is called a fresque, and this looks like that. You can see a lot of similar paintings in a castle or a church. And then the next frame is a shadow of a person or a Titan. It's not evident who's the owner of this shadow, if that makes sense, and that's why I cannot really add anything here, because I don't know, because this image doesn't tell me a lot of new information. Then here we have this image. Now here we see some humans which seem to be preparing for a battle. We have a storm going on, and then here's this giant woman who maybe could be a Titan, but as I said, maybe this is a goddess, mainly because of the fact that at the end we also have an image which seems to be an image of a goddess. So maybe this woman and the woman from the last picture are the same women. So maybe this could be her, maybe this is the goddess which can be seen at the end. Of course, here I just want to make sure that I'm not sure if that woman at the end truly is a goddess, but it seems that that's the case. And then we have an image which seems to be an image of a food can, and that can seems to be written in that special Titan mystic language which Ymir was able to read. So yeah, again, an interesting image, but I don't think this reveals me any new pieces of information. Then we have this image, which seems to be an image of 3 numbers. It seems that the 3 numbers are 3, 4, and 5, basically 345. And again, this also doesn't tell me anything new. I don't know with what I could connect this number. I really don't. It does not mean anything to me. Like, I will try to remember it, but I don't know what could it mean. Like, I really don't know. Then we have this image which probably is an image of a king, or maybe at least a nobleman, and he, I guess, is surrounded with his servants. And then he's holding 3 women, which, as I said when I initially saw this ending, could potentially be Sheena, Rosa, and Maria. You know, these 3 women could be the women which the walls are named after. Now these 3 women are eating, it seems, flesh, I would suppose, and they're crying. And then you have a basically skeleton or a dead body lying beneath them. Now one thing which is interesting here is that this dead body has a jewel on his torso, which is almost identical, or at least similar to the jewel which the king or this nobleman is wearing. This whole thing seems like there's a ritual going on, but I don't know, my guess would be that maybe this guy was a Titan shifter, and maybe these 3 women want to become Titan shifters by eating him, but I don't know if that would actually work. I mean, Ymir was a Titan when she ate Marcel, so I suppose you need to be a Titan first before you eat a Titan shifter. But I don't know, that's just my guess, because I don't know what else this image could mean. Then we have an image of a document or something like that, I don't know. It seems to be written in that mysterious Titan language. And then we have several similar images, like this one, and this one, where it seems that the Titans are basically attacking these humans, and these humans are trying to escape. Now it seems that this whole thing is happening in a medieval time, so maybe here this is the day when the Titans appeared, which would be, I think it's 100 years ago, right? So yeah, maybe this was that day, the day when the Titans first attacked, when the Titans first appeared. Then we have this image. This seems to be an image where these people are trying to escape. I don't know if they are trapped inside a room or a wall. They are clearly surrounded by some Titans. Now, the interesting thing here is that all these people are looking towards the window, and one guy is holding his baby or child towards the window. Now this image is definitely interesting, mainly because of the fact that all these people are looking towards the window. So this gives me a feeling that maybe there's a deeper meaning behind this image. But I don't know. I truly don't know what this image could mean or what could be the deeper meaning of it, but I still wanted to highlight it. Yeah, here's then another image of some Titans eating humans. And then here we have a strange figure in the back of this image, and at first I thought that this could potentially be the Beast Titan, but if we look some images back, here we clearly see a Titan which has a similar physique, a similar body type as the Beast Titan. So this figure here, it's not guaranteed that this is the Beast Titan. I mean, it could be, I guess. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't know if this guy here is actually the Beast Titan or not. But if it is, then that would definitely be interesting. It would make sense, especially if the Beast Titan truly is a devil. And if he is the devil, then he probably is immortal, right? Then we have an image of some titans walking towards the sunset. Then we have some images which seem to be images of people having a prayer. I can see that they are wearing those religious necklaces and they're praying. Then this seemed to be an image of a priest, I suppose. So yeah, judging by these images, I don't know if these images tell me anything, but maybe there are an indication that this religion, the leaders of this religion are potentially the main enemy, considering the, how should I say, filter of these images, and this image, they're black and white and they appear for just a mere second if you watch this ending in full speed. And then we have multiple images of people walking towards the sunset. I suppose these people are probably trying to escape the Titans, trying to find a new home. Then we have a quick image, a quick frame of some flowers. Now maybe this means nothing, but I have to say that in Attack on Titan, a lot of times flowers have been highlighted. Like, I still remember I don't remember anymore the episode, which specific episode it was. I think it was episode 10 or 11. But in that episode, when Eren saved Mikasa and Armin from the cannonball, basically after he transformed, Armin noticed that some flowers started to grow. And that's still, till this day, to me, a mystery. So yeah, and I think a lot of times through this show, as I said, flowers have been highlighted. So I don't know if there's a deeper meaning to it, but definitely it's something interesting. Then we have an image where, I suppose, 4 humans or 4 titans have appeared from the ground. Now I don't know what this could mean, but I have to say that this does remind me of the Greek mythology, because in the Greek mythology, humans were created from, I think, clay or dirt or something like that. Basically they were created from the ground. Again, I don't know what this image means, but it does remind me on the Greek mythology. And speaking of the Greek mythology, this final image looks like a painting of, which you would see in a historic notebook, which you would see if you would read about the Greek mythology. At least to me it seems so. This looks like a painting of Greek gods. Here at the bottom we have some which seems to be tiny humans. So maybe these are regular humans. And then I guess all these larger humans are gods. And I suppose their size determines their status, their level. And again, as I highlighted before, there's a woman in the center which seems to be the main supreme goddess. Now again, what could this image mean? I suppose this image means that gods, or at least a goddess, do exist within this universe. I mean, still, there's no guarantee that this actually is a goddess. But man, everything is pointing towards that, And as I said before, this goddess, this woman, was maybe Eren's predecessor. Maybe she was the first coordinate. But yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. That's it. That's the ending. So that is it for my discussion about the ending. Now I know that this video is probably already extremely long, but I still want to make a quick season overview, the same thing which I did in season 1 with the final episode of season 1, the 25th episode, basically to talk about this season in general. And of course, the first thing which I want to say is that I enjoyed it. I think it was a great season. It definitely met my expectations. I still remember many of you, when I still was watching season 1, were talking about how you cannot wait that I come to season 2 and season 3. You all were saying that Attack on Titan gets only better, and of course I had high expectations for season 2, and this season delivered. I think it was a great season. Now, if I compare season 1 and season 2, do I prefer any? I don't know. I think in terms of storytelling, Season 2 was better, mainly because it was very fluid, it did not have any pacing issues, it had some massive emotional reveals. So definitely from a pure storyline perspective, Season 2 is probably better. But Season 1 holds a special place inside me, you know. It already feels in a way nostalgic. But not only that, you know, you have some themes which were very present, which were very strong in Season 1, but they weren't in Season 2. Like, for example, I think in Season 1, the theme of an apocalyptic world, the theme of being caged like a bird, was much more present, was much stronger, was much more evident through the story of Season 1. I don't know, maybe that's just my opinion, but I still remember at the beginning how many times I was creeped out by the Titans, and I remember how I celebrated Mikasa killing a Titan, because until that point, to me, Titans felt as if they were impossible to kill, and that's why I really had that feeling of being caged. But here in Season 2, especially in the second half of Season 2, the story mostly focused on the Titan Shifters, and I guess that's why the theme of an apocalyptic world, the theme of being caged, was not as present as before, you know, was not as strong as in Season 1. So again, in Season 1 you have some themes, you have some elements of the story which I wouldn't say are better, but are not so strong, or rather are not that much evident in Season 2, if that makes sense. But yeah, as I said, the main point is that I truly enjoyed both seasons, but I think from a storyline perspective, Season 2 was better. But yeah, then what was my favorite story arc of Season 2? Can I even answer this question? Because to me everything felt like a big story arc. I guess at the beginning, at the first half of Season 1, we had the story arc of that castle, I suppose. We were mostly focused on Rainer, Bertold, Ymir, and Historia and Connie. And then in the second half of Season 2, we mostly were focused on the battle for Eren, I guess. So I guess these two are the arcs of this season. And man, I don't know which one was better. I mean, of course, the arc when they were battling for Eren was packed with information, packed with emotions, packed with reveals. I mean, especially the reveal about Rainer and Bertold. And then here, this reveal at the end, Eren being the coordinate. But man, that arc, when we were focusing on these characters, which I mentioned earlier, you know, Bertold, Rainer, Ymir, Historia and Connie, was also really good, because it was so great that we finally have focused on them, you know, that these characters, which were not featured that much in Season 1, finally got their spotlight. But I think if I had to choose, I don't know. Again, I don't know which arc I prefer, because I really enjoyed also the first arc. I suppose the obvious choice would be the second arc because of all the reveals. But if I look at my personal enjoyment, I think I enjoyed both arcs equally. But that's just, of course, my opinion, right? Then, at the end of Season 1, I also did my top 5 characters list. So, of course, I will do the same thing here. And, after Season 1, I think my favorite characters were Armin, Jean, Mikasa, Eren, and Levi. I think these were my top favorite characters, top 5 favorite characters. I definitely think that even though Jean was not featured that much, I still am certain that he's in my top 5, especially because in Season 1 he was... Probably him and Eren were my top 2 favorite characters. So based off that, I'm almost certain that he is still my top 5. Then definitely Eren also, you know, I said it now on countless times that I truly connect to him a lot, because he reminds me on me a lot. He has a lot of same characteristics. I see a lot of similarities between him and me, and I liked his story arc in Season 2. He wasn't featured at the beginning, but now he was featured a lot. We've seen him in all these tough scenarios. We've seen him cry, we've seen him having a breakdown, and then we have seen him, especially in this last episode, realizing that he already did a lot, and then eventually acquiring these new powers. So yeah, Eren definitely is still in my top 5. That means that I have 3 spots left. I think Eren has to make it. Like, I know that he wasn't featured that much in this season, but in those scenes when he delivered. Especially when he showed how determined he is, when he showed how much he values saving the world from titans. When he lost his arm, even though he was bitten by a titan, he still shouted that they need to advance, that they need to save Eren. And also, Erwin is really successful. Again, his idea, his plan succeeded, and that, to me as a viewer, gives me, how should I say, a feeling of that I can rely on Erwin. If things will go wrong, I can hope that at least Erwin will come up with a plan. So yeah, I think Erwin definitely is in my top 5 now, and that leaves me with 2 spots. I think Mikasa is in there. I loved her story arc in this season, seeing her basically being prepared to kill everyone to get to Eren. That was so interesting to watch. And here at the end, I loved this scene between her and Eren, when she thanked to him, when she explained to him that he already did a lot. So yeah, I think Mikasa makes it. I think Mikasa makes it now for the 5th spot. Phew, that's kind of tough, And there are many candidates, Reiner is definitely one, Levi and Armin. Now, of course, with Reiner, it's the case that, yeah, he is the armored titan. He is responsible for so many people dying, but at the same time, I don't know the truth about him, I don't know why he did these actions, and at the same time, even if he is potentially a villain, that still doesn't mean that someone is a bad character. Usually the best characters are often villains. So yeah, Reiner definitely is a great character. So he is a candidate for my top 5. So I think it's between him, Levi, and Armin. Man, I don't know. Maybe Armin? I suppose. I think, it's hard, it's hard. I still love Levi. Can it be a tie? I cannot decide. I truly cannot. Especially between Armin and Levi. I think it's impossible to decide, because they both were not featured as much in season 2 as they were in season 1. I don't know if I had to say, I don't know, maybe Armin? I don't know, it's hard to say, but definitely Jean, Mikasa, Eren, and Erwin are definitely in my top 5, and then for the last spot, I don't know, it's between Armin, Levi, and Reiner. So yeah, I think that's it for my season overview. As I said, I truly enjoyed season 2. I enjoyed the fact that so many characters got their character developments, especially those characters which weren't featured as much in season 1. But yeah, the bottom line is that season 2 was great. I enjoyed it. And now we have season 3, of course, but I think before that I still have to watch some OVAs. I need to make sure which ones do I have to watch now. But then after that, I will go on to season 3, and do you have any expectations or predictions about season 3? I don't know, judging by what happened at the end of season 2, it seems that potentially it could revolve a lot around the Beast Titan, judging by that final scene. Yeah, and speaking here of the Beast Titan, here's something which I completely forgot to mention. In that scene, the Beast Titan said, "Not yet." I completely forgot to mention that during my episode breakdown, but I think that's mainly because this doesn't tell me a lot, What could he mean by saying "not yet"? Could he mean that they haven't yet surrendered? That maybe, I don't know, the Wall Titans haven't awakened yet? There are plenty of possibilities. It's a simple line and it's super hard to make any conclusions out of it. But yeah, as I said, it seems that maybe season 3 could revolve around the Beast Titan. I'm super curious if we will see the hometown of Reiner and Bertolt, because I assume that that's where they're going now, together with Ymir. But yeah, who knows what could happen in season 3? Like in season 2, so many things have happened which I did not expect. I did not expect the Beast Titan to appear. I did not expect that I will already learn the identity of the Colossal and Armored Titan. And I did not expect that Eren will end up eventually gaining new powers. So yeah, everything could happen in season 3, and I definitely have some high expectations for it, and I hope that I will enjoy it. But yeah, that will do it for this video. I hope you're all safe, healthy. I hope you're enjoying your day, and I will see you soon.